Because I don't think Crawford's going to put him away, and I think Canelo's a much better mover than people give him credit for, and I think Crawford will be hit more and hit harder than he's ever been hit before, but I don't think he'll go out or down.
Consistent with Terence Crawford's fight schedule over the last several years, where he's been pretty much fighting one time a year. That one time a year is clearly giving him a lot of time to rest and recover from his injuries.
Boxing insiders are pointing to a critical flaw in Terence Crawford's newest training clips. Gareth noted that although he originally backed Crawford to defeat Canelo Alvarez, his stance has shifted. As fight night nears, he now favors Canelo, predicting Crawford will endure punches unlike anything he has ever faced before. This change underscores the rising skepticism about Crawford's ability to withstand Canelo's power and survive on boxing's grandest stage.
Early on, very close rounds in the first 3 or 4. We'll be divided on who's winning. I think Canelo will get going in the second third of the fight and land some big shots. I think Crawford will look good as well. Rounds 6 to 9, we'll be looking at who's getting ascendancy in the fight. Crawford will have weathered the storm of the big Canelo punches, countered himself, still close rounds. I think Canelo will push away and in my view will win the fight, because I don't think Crawford's going to put him away, and I think Canelo's a much better mover than people give him credit for, and I think Crawford will be hit more and hit harder than he's ever been hit before, but I don't think he'll go out or down, and if he does go down, he'll get up. I think it'll be a very, very close affair, and I think even if in those last 6 rounds Crawford's got Canelo's number in terms of movement and timing, I still think if it's very close in rounds, I think it'll either be a draw or a narrow points decision for Saul Canelo Alvarez that everybody feels is very controversial, and then they'll do it again. That's how I see it playing, and that's the plot, if you like, with the subplots in the drama of one of the biggest fights we've seen in Vegas since.
Gennady Golovkin's trainer has issued a sharp warning that Terence Crawford may not sustain his stamina at the heavier division. He believes Crawford could begin fading as early as round 4. The main reason is the sudden adjustment in body size and the added muscle, which could slow his rhythm. Since Crawford has never competed at this specific weight, the trainer insists the demands are enormous. Carrying excess weight often makes even elite fighters sluggish, drains energy quickly, and sparks early frustration. If Crawford cannot regulate his pace, he risks exhausting himself before the middle rounds.
Triple G's former trainer said that Crawford's gonna be quick in the first 4 rounds, but once Canelo figures him out and actually starts hitting Terence Crawford, in which Sanchez described as, quote, like a huge truck hitting him, it'll be game over for Terence Crawford. He explained that Crawford may not have the legs for someone like Canelo in the 168-pound division. Sanchez also added that if Canelo was eventually gonna be Crawford's endgame, then Crawford should have jumped weight divisions a while back. Now, Crawford could have technically done that after the Spence fight. However, his once-a-year fight schedule prevented that from happening.
Reports are emerging that Terence Crawford might have developed a shoulder issue during his camp for the Canelo Alvarez fight. While no official word has been given, the mere suggestion has sparked worry among analysts and fans. This is concerning because Crawford's career has typically been managed with just 1 or 2 fights per year. That pace gave him time to heal and enter fully fit. The short turnaround now removes that advantage, meaning any nagging pain could carry into fight night. Shoulder problems cannot be dismissed in boxing. Almost every element of a fighter's game, from throwing crisp punches to blocking and creating distance, depends on shoulder strength. Even a small strain could limit Crawford's punching speed and power, making it harder to keep Canelo honest. Mentally, such an injury could also add doubt, preventing him from fully engaging in exchanges. Against a seasoned, hard-hitting rival like Canelo, any hesitation could be fatal. If the injury exists, Crawford faces an uphill climb. Stepping in at less than peak health versus Canelo leaves virtually no margin for error. What was already a dangerous task could become even more hazardous if he cannot fully rely on his shoulders for speed, force, and defense.
solitary training camp and in every single solitary fight, a guy that is as old as Terence Crawford, 37, 38 years old, is going to have some type of injuries. They're going to have some type of old nagging type of stuff, especially a guy that works as ridiculously hard as Terence Crawford does. That was just a matter of time before wear and tear is going to start going and things are going to start popping off and going wrong, right? Also, you can tell that the reason that this is kind of consistent with Terence Crawford's fight schedule over the last several years, where he's been pretty much fighting one time a year. That one time a year is clearly giving him a lot of time to rest and recover from his injuries and gives his body time to heal up. And as a result, okay, he's ready to go during fight time. So I wouldn't put too much on this. I would say though that if you're a gambling person, man, you should probably want to keep your money in your pocket for this particular fight, man, because this thing can absolutely positively go either way with between the two of these guys. Canelo Alvarez is an exceptional fighter, much bigger than Terence Crawford is, or been fighting at a much bigger weight class than Terence Crawford's been fighting at, and much more experienced at that level at 168 pounds. But Terence Crawford is just such a superb fighter and such an intelligent fighter in there that you can know that he's going to be coming there to fight, and he's got a significant chance to win that fight, unless of course that injury is real. I mean, and it is significant and is preventing him from really sitting down on his punches, because he's going to have to at a point in time with Canelo Alvarez is going to have to do something to get him up off of him.
Keith Thurman has added a grounded perspective on the highly anticipated clash. He reminded that Canelo Alvarez, though not unbeaten, remains a hugely dangerous adversary. According to Thurman, all fighters carry flaws, but exploiting them is never simple. He highlighted that Canelo's vast experience, technical skills, and toughness make him a man who must not be taken lightly. In boxing, defeats don't always diminish careers, and in Canelo's case, they have molded him into a more complete warrior. Thurman stressed that calling Canelo beatable does not automatically ensure Crawford's victory, since Crawford must perform at a level he has yet to prove against a fighter of Canelo's stature and background.
An unbeatable fighter. That's fine. None of us are really unbeatable, right? But people got to understand this. Canelo Alvarez is not an unbeatable fighter. The question is, whoever he's fighting, we don't question what Canelo's going to do, right? We question what his opponents are going to do, right? It's not even really about Canelo. Canelo's going to show up as Canelo Alvarez, right? Ginger boy. So the question is, are you going to beat him? And are you going to beat him today? Like when fight night happens, is it you and is it now? You ready to beat him now? He's not unbeatable. Maybe you can beat him, but are you going to do it? And are you going to do it now? You feel me? Because I thought Danny Jacobs was going to have a way better performance.
Danny actually performed well against Canelo, but he didn't take any chances. He was doing just enough to not get beaten.
And Canelo was feeling himself. Canelo had preparation. He had that head movement, losing to Floyd, this and that. He fought some flat-footed fighters. He got used to getting his head here and there and ducking down and then pulling out and spinning out and little tactics. I've never seen somebody make Danny Jacobs miss so many punches. It was highly impressive. I did not expect that, because of the amateur pedigree growing up with Danny Jacobs. I know exactly what kind of New York fighter he is.
Recent clips of the stare-down between Crawford and Canelo have stirred heavy discussion. Surprisingly, Crawford looked bigger than many expected, nearly matching Canelo in size. This stood out because Canelo has long been recognized for his stocky frame and natural strength at higher weights. The sight of Crawford's added bulk has sparked debate about how well he has managed the gain. Some view it as proof he has bulked up effectively, while others warn that size alone does not guarantee power or stamina. The real test is whether he can carry that extra mass in the ring without slowing down. Looking larger may help with intimidation, but the real measure will come across 12 grueling rounds.
With that said, they're going to face off in an epic showdown. And the big talk, obviously, is the size difference, right? That Canelo Alvarez is much bigger than the smaller Terence Bud Crawford, who is essentially coming up from 147 in the minds of many. But really and truly, he's coming up from 154 because he actually had a fight at 154, a title opportunity, his only fight at 154 last August when he took on Israel Madrimov, okay? And he beat Israel Madrimov, unanimous decision, to become a 4-division champion. But as you see here in this photo, there's not a big size difference. And actually, obviously, we know Terence Crawford stands at 5'8", got a 74-inch arm reach. Canelo stands at 5'7" with a 70-inch arm reach. There's not a massive size difference at all whatsoever. Now, clearly, as you see, Terence Crawford clearly has on what looks like Balenciaga shoes, and we know they are extremely big shoes, and it make you slightly taller. And Canelo Alvarez has on flats. The thing here is, the more important thing is, not if Terence Crawford can take Canelo Alvarez's punches. It's not if Terence Crawford, is going to get bullied around the ring. The concern with the weight is how Terence Crawford carries it himself. Does he start to fatigue in the second half of the fight? Should he get to the second half of the fight?
Timothy Bradley Jr., respected for both his decorated career and keen commentary, has outlined a clear game plan for Terence Crawford. In Bradley's eyes, Crawford's best chance is to attack from the start. He noted that Canelo grows stronger as the rounds pass, steadily finding rhythm and control. That means the deeper the fight goes, the more dangerous it becomes for Crawford. Bradley argued that Crawford has the speed, precision, and IQ to disrupt Canelo's flow if he applies pressure early. By taking risks in the opening rounds, Crawford could surprise the Mexican star and seize control. Bradley also cautioned that carrying extra weight may sap Crawford's energy late, making it unrealistic to save strength for later. Instead, he urged Crawford to lean on his explosiveness and instincts to try and end matters before fatigue sets in. To Bradley, the smartest route is for Crawford to impose himself immediately and aim to finish before the fight drags into deep waters.
Yeah, he can move a little bit, but yeah, he likes to come forward with that power. But you put him on his back foot, let me tell you similar too. You know this guy named Usyk who put Fury on his back foot? Yeah, push the pace on him. Yeah, with volume, feints. Put Canelo on his back foot, Crawford. That's what you gotta do. You gotta put him on his back foot. Hell to the damn yeah. That's how you get it done, man. That's one aspect that you're gonna have to do. And hey, I would advise you to do it as early as damn possible. Do it as early as possible, because guess what? If you do that, you're gonna get control right away of the judges, right? They're gonna be looking at you. You're gonna dictate the pace. You're gonna dictate the flow of the fight. You gotta have him react to you, not you reacting to him. That's how you gain control of the fight real quick, real soon. Get active with that jab. You don't necessarily have to come out in the southpaw stance. You can come out in the orthodox stance. You know, what's the punch that always hits Canelo all the time? Easy work, the jab. Triple G was able to land his jab over and over. Floyd Mayweather was able to land his jab over and over. Bivol was able to land his jab over and over. You control him, you push him back, you walk forward. Anytime Canelo give you an inch going back, you take that inch going forward. That's how you gonna get this done. You're gonna have to be brave, my man, Crawford. You're gonna have to be brave. You're gonna have to be on your P's and Q's when you're walking forward as well, because he will snap back. He will snap back with them left hooks, right hands to the body, or looping right hands over the top, or even straight right hands. Sometimes he might even come with a two-piece combination. But you got to put him on his back foot as often as possible, man. With your how cerebral you are, with your feints, with your movement, snapping that jab.
That's all for today's breakdown. Stay locked in, because the closer we get to fight night, the more fireworks are bound to erupt. Until next time.